Hi everyone, I'm Elisavet. I completed the Social and Cultural Psychology, is this working? Yes. Social and Cultural Psychology course, and my supervisor was Sandra Georgievic. And today I'm going to talk to you about intergroup relations in Cyprus and the conflict that the country is experiencing. So in the talk, I will briefly inform you about Cyprus, and in order to introduce my research question, and then I will try to convince you about its importance. We will briefly touch upon methodology in order to go with some findings, and then close with some implications. So, Cyprus, it's here. It's a Mediterranean island, and it's an island that is inhabited by a lot of communities. The two main communities of the island are Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, who used to live together and get along, but at some point in 1950 and onwards, they start to have some conflicts. Those conflicts got so tense that since 1974, by an invasion from Turkey, Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots got divided, and we have Turkish Cypriots now living in the north of the island, and Greek Cypriots living in the south. And you have this beautiful line, not beautiful, line which we call the buffer zone, and it's what it divides the island into. Okay, so such conflicts usually have a lot of tension, a lot of prejudices, a lot of hate and violence, and these are things that usually we tend to want to eliminate as humanity. So one wants to think, okay, how do we solve a conflict like that in Cyprus? And here comes my research question. Relative literature suggests that when people experience conflicts, they start to develop different representations and understandings of the conflict. So I wanted to see how Greek Cypriots understand the conflict they experience with Turkish Cypriots, because if we want to really solve the conflict, we will need to know how people understand this. Otherwise, we cannot address them successfully. And what I did, I used a dialogical social representational approach, which in one sentence, we can say that it emphasizes on how the way we perceive the world is really influenced by how others perceive the world and what representations we have about the others. So this is why I'm interested in how Greek Cypriots represent themselves, the others, Turkish Cypriots and Turks mainly, and the object, which is the Republic of Cyprus, their country. Okay, in order to answer my research question, I followed a qualitative methodology and analysis. I interviewed people either in person or in groups, and then I transcribed the data that I collected from them, and I did a dialogical analysis, which we will not get into details, but if anyone is interested, they can ask me. So, some of the main findings. It seems that Greek Cypriots identify themselves with the term Cypriot mainly, and this term unfortunately does not include Turkish Cypriots in most of the times. This identity is constructed based on the antinomies of weak, weak and strong, Greek and Turk, and pure or mixed race, and you can see in bold with what they are identified. Now, Turkish Cypriots are also represented as weak, and their origins are seen mainly as Cypriot rather than Turks. And in regards to Turkey, they see Turkey as a strong nation that is bad, and it's not a nation that we should be trusting. It's distrustful. Okay, now, I want to say something. It's really important that the representation of Turkey and the Turks, it was really solid and diffused. So it was really hard to challenge this understanding. Turkey was always seen, understood as such. Actually, I think one or two participants differentiate themselves from this representation. Just an example to see how my data looked. There is this person here, and he's saying, I personally think that Turkish Cypriots have very good intentions to solve the conflict. The problem, however, is that their president, for example, Akinci, has no power. He can't say anything. When he takes a position on the negotiations table, it comes from Turkey. It is not his own opinion. Let me give you an example. Do we have someone behind us while we are negotiating? Is there anyone to guarantee our side any safety? Does anyone guarantee that, I don't know, that the Turks cannot take over the other half of Cyprus as well? And then the girl comes and she's saying, so I'm sorry to interrupt, do you mean that Turkey partially manipulates? Not partially, Turkey actually manipulates them. So what happens here with this participant is that he represents Turkish Cypriots as a weak nation that is being manipulated by Turkey. And since Turkey is a bad and distrustful nation, we have to negotiate with them. The problem is really hard to solve from the first place. But what is also interesting in this excerpt is that phenomenically he seems to talk very well about Turkish Cypriots as people who have very good intentions to solve the conflict. But he further argues that it's with Turkey that we should be negotiating because they are manipulating them. And what happens here is that he actually silences Turkish Cypriots. He removes their voice from the discourse, and the Cypriot problem, from an intergroup problem with Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots, it becomes a problem of Greek Cypriots and Turkey. Okay, some implications. So I want to focus on 3 points. The first one is about the Cypriot identity. It's really problematic, I think, that the term Cypriot is being used by Greek Cypriots only to refer to their in-group, because if one wants to use this supergroup identity thing for conflict reduction and resolution, how can this happen if this term Cypriot is already threatening for Turkish Cypriots, because it doesn't include them implicitly. And then I want to talk about nationalism in Cyprus with some photos. Okay, nationalism in Cyprus is really strong. We have a lot of flags going on. This is why I propose that the cognitive polyphasia model can be really interesting to study in regards to national identifications. Because you can see here you have one country and you have so many flags. The other point that I want to make is that these flags are so widely used that they start to become invisible to the citizen's eye, and this is what Bilic has called banal nationalism. But on the other side, there are some points in time when these flags they become the point of attention, and they start a conversation, a public debate, and this is where hot nationalism starts into play. So what I suggest is that maybe a combination of banal nationalism and hot nationalism can be a really good method to study intergroup conflicts that are long-term, that are intractable. Okay, and one final implication to finish this with a kind of positive message. There is a population across the 2 communities that is really fighting through their activism to bring the islands together. And I think more research should be done on this in order to promote them and encourage them and their actions. And I think this will be really much more productive than studying the problem and not the possible solution.